Welcome to FleetRover. This video will explain all the features of your FleetRover driver application. Today we're going to cover logging in for the first time, choosing a vehicle, changing your status, creating a DVIR report, showing a DVIR report, messages, and the driver envelope. To log in, first the system is going to ask for my company name, my credentials, and my password. I've already put this information in, and I will hit Let's Go to get started. The system has many features, but most of the time all you have to remember to do is turn your truck on to power the ELD and change your status to on duty. I'm going to swipe down from the middle of the screen to simply show how to do this. Now I'm on duty. Next, you would fill out a DVIR report by clicking this area here, and you would do your inspection as you would every day before starting your shift. And then you just have to drive. The system will change you between on duty and driving once you hit 5 miles per hour as per FMCSA regulations. So let's start with the main screen and menu. The top left corner shows 3 lines. This is our menu, also known as a hamburger menu. If you click it, you will see Overview. This is your home page, the page that we were just on. Messages, logs, edited log, reports, objectives, the driver envelope, settings, and at the bottom, the ability to sign out. The top of the screen shows the version of FleetRover that we're on, my name, and the company I work for, as well as the license plate of the vehicle that I'm currently driving. When logging in for the first time, you'll be asked for your truck's current odometer reading, and you'll choose if you prefer to work in kilometers or miles. You'll also have to select the cycle your company runs on, 77 or whatever. You can always change these preferences in the profile section of the settings menu. Let's go there now. So I'm clicking on the hamburger menu and scrolling down to the settings at the bottom of the screen. If I click on profile, I can enter first name, last name, my phone number, my vehicle license plate. My home terminal will be listed here as well, and this is automatically populated based on this information being put in by your dispatch or operations team on the web application side of FleetRover. You can change your principal terminal if you have multiple terminals at your company. Simply click the drop down and choose the correct principal terminal. Or you can leave this blank if you do not use this. Scrolling down, we can see I currently have 0 trailers set. I can change this to 1 or 2. And extra fields open up asking me to input the license plate and jurisdiction for the first trailer and license plate and jurisdiction for the second trailer. But I'm going back to 0 for now. You can enter the trailer information when you fill out a DVIR report as well, so it's not necessary to save it in settings. You can also change your cycle here. I'm going to click the little arrow on the right side of this, and all the different options show up. Just choose whatever cycle is correct for you. Maybe I should be on the US 60-hour 7-day. I would go down and hit Save Details now at the bottom of the screen. But let's just stay back on the 70-hour 7-day Canadian cycle. You can also choose if you prefer kilometers or miles. And you can turn on team driving, and of course change your signature. Again, the system will ask you to put this in the first time you use the system. If you want to change your signature, just click Change Signature and redraw it with a stylus or your finger. Once you've finished making changes to this section, simply hit Save Details at the bottom of the screen. Now I'm going to go back by hitting the arrow. So I'm back on the settings page. I'm going to take a look at vehicles. you will want to select your vehicle the first time you use the system, or any time that you change vehicles. Select your vehicle by tapping on it. We can see that I'm currently in this vehicle because there's a check mark next to it. Maybe I should be in JK Test, the vehicle below it. So now I'm on that one, but actually I should really be on the one I was just on. So I will select it again. And we can see, again, that check mark always tells us which vehicle we're connected to. Back on the settings page, we can also toggle between French and English in the language section, or go visit our privacy policy by clicking Privacy Policy. Let's go back to the main page, the overview page. You can always access this page by hitting the back arrow in the top right corner, or hitting the menu and hitting Overview. You can see your status at a glance. I can see that I'm currently off duty. If I need to change my status, I'll click this little arrow here and pull down to open up the different options. You'll see that each status shows how much time is left for that specific status given the cycle that I'm on. Driving is grayed out because you cannot select driving as per FMCSA regulations when using a certified ELD. Your system will simply change from on duty to driving when you hit 5 miles per hour. And then when you drop below 5 miles per hour, it will go back to on duty. Again, all per FMCSA regulations. On this screen, you can see that we can select on duty. And when you're in on duty, you'll move from there to driving automatically. And because this version relies on internet, it may take a few minutes before your ELD shows you that it's gone from on duty to driving. This is because your ELD is communicating with a satellite in the cloud and then communicating back to your device. There's no issue with compliance here. Your logs will show the exact time that you actually did change to driving status or back to on duty status. It's just that it may take a couple minutes before it shows on your phone or tablet before this change registers. You can also select sleeper berth or off duty. In on duty, we also have the option to enable yard mode. So if you're in the yard, you can simply tick within this little checkbox to say that I'm in on duty yard mode. My log will show that I'm in yard mode right now. When you're in this status, this is for only moving around the yard, and if you go above 5 miles per hour, your status will not change to driving. So it's very important to remember to turn this off when you're ready to leave the yard, as I've just done by clicking this check mark again. When you're sleeping, simply select sleeping. And when you're off duty, turn yourself to off duty, what you should do at the end of every shift. Just like yard mode, there's a little checkbox within the off-duty area. If you have to use personal conveyance, click this to utilize personal conveyance. This will keep your logs as off-duty, personal conveyance mode. Regardless of what status you're on, let's move back to on-duty. Your app will tell you how much time you have left in this status. It'll also tell you how much time you have left in the on duty here, your current odometer reading, or your most recent odometer reading rather, and how much time left in your cycle. So you have all the information you need to have at a glance available to you. If you are in off-duty mode and you're driving your truck, the app will automatically change to driving status. The FMCSA mandates there is no unassigned driving time. So if you're off duty and do this, then you will turn to driving status. You can prevent this by selecting the correct status with your cycle, or you can log out of FleetRover to prevent this from happening. This feature is a fail-safe to help ensure there's no unassigned driving time, but it's still key you set your status properly anytime the truck is moving. You can also send daily logs from this page. Launch inspection mode. This is if you're being inspected by a regulatory body, and that can be done by this area here, or using this eyeball here. You can always access inspection mode by clicking the eyeball in the top right-hand corner. And you can also add a DVIR report so that you can get started driving right away. And if you need to send your logs to your dispatch team or even to yourself or anyone else, you can do so from here, clicking Send Daily Logs. The system will ask you if you want to use the last 24 hours, the last 7 days, the last 14 days, and you can then send these logs to whomever you like. Okay, and we've gotten a confirmation that that has worked properly. Looking at inspection mode, I'm going to launch it now by clicking the eyeball in the top right corner. This will guide the inspector on how to utilize FleetRover. So it'll tell you at the top here, you're in inspection mode, please hand this over to the inspector. And it tells them that they can use the arrows at the bottom of the screen to view different days. Swipe your finger up and down to begin to view the details of the log. So they can click Begin Inspection to get started at the bottom of the screen. So if they want to see previous days, they can use these arrows in the bottom. So I'm going to swipe through to previous days. I haven't done a lot of driving, which is why there's not a lot of information here. If you want to zoom in, you can use 2 fingers to zoom in, and you can move the screen around to whatever you would like to see. Everything the inspector needs to see is available on this screen. Now that I've pinched to zoom in, I can hit these the little magnifying glass in the bottom right corner to continue zooming or zooming out. Or I can pinch to zoom to move more quickly through this. You can also save these logs as a PDF and send them via your preferred method, email perhaps, or you can send these logs to print. Depends on what the inspector would like. Look at this top right corner, we'll see there's a printer icon to do just this. So the first option is to save as PDF, and everything's here available so I can download it as a digital copy. This is where I can change from PDF and download it. And it'll just ask you to save wherever you would like on your device. If you would prefer to print, you can click the arrow in the top right corner. And then click on all printers, and you may have to set up this printer anytime as you would if you were connecting your device to any printer using Android system services. All depends on what the inspector prefers. If we're going to go back now, I don't want to save or I finish saving, I'm just going to hit the back button in my phone. And I can exit inspection mode by clicking the arrow in the top left corner. And I'm getting warned that I'm exiting inspection mode, and I'll click OK. I previously mentioned you can add a DVIR report from this screen, so let's do that now. Before driving, you have to conduct a DVIR report. So you want to input your current odometer reading. When you complete the next day's DVIR and input your odometer reading, your mileage for today will be completed. If you want to see today's mileage immediately, complete a second DVIR report at the end of your shift. However, this function will be automated shortly, so you won't have to enter your odometer reading anymore. If traveling to the United States, enter trip, trailer, and destination. This is mandatory, but if you're not traveling to the United States, then you do not have to put in this information. The trip should come from your dispatch or operations team. If you're not hauling a trailer, click bobtailing. Your home terminal again is listed here, as is your principal terminal, which we referenced when we were looking at the settings section. Here you can enter additional trailers. Hit 1, and additional trailer license plate information shows up. And the same happens if I hit 2. But for simplicity, I'm just going to put 0 trailers, and I'll say that I'm bobtailing. The app will automatically pull your location based on where your ELD is. I'm not currently in a truck, which is why it's having difficulty finding my location. If this ever occurs, you can change your location by clicking Change Location. Let's do that now. Okay. So now we've updated my location to 10 Queen Street West. And now we can look and see if there are any issues with my truck or cab. You'll see that there's an option for involved in an accident. Hopefully this never has to be ticked, but if it does, clicking this will automatically alert your dispatch or operations team via FleetRover's application on the web or on the computer that they're using that you have been in an accident. You can also call, email, whatever you need to do to alert your team about this unfortunate incident. So if there are defects, you'll want to scroll down. The system will be helping you log this information by guiding you using the Schedule 1 information according to the FMCSA. So is there an issue with your air brake, your cab, driver's seat, whatever? All this information is here for you. So if there's an issue, tick it. And then the system will prompt you for additional details on the issue. If you're unsure if this is a defect that is minor or major, if you're in the right section, click on one of these question marks and the system will guide you even further. This is all according to the FMCSA's Schedule 1 documentation to make sure that you're using this and filling things out in the way that's compliant. For simplicity, I'm going to turn this off and show that you can also scroll all the way down to add any other defects that you found that may not be listed here according to Schedule 1. This is just a free form where you can type whatever you need to. Once you're complete checking your truck and your cab, untick that there were defects found. This is to prevent you from accidentally ticking through without checking your cab properly. And then tick that you have inspected the vehicle in accordance with the applicable requirements of Schedule 1 and/or judicial legislation. Now you can click Authorize Report and save at the bottom. And you'll get a confirmation that you've done this. Next, we'll look at the Messages and Messaging section. I'm going to open the the menu on the left side of this application and click on Messages. So in the messaging section, you can message your dispatch team and they can message you back. The idea here is to make this easy so that you don't have to leave the application to communicate with your team. We can see that they've previously told me I'm doing a good job. I've sent them a file. They've told me to pull up to the last dock for loading, whatever information I need. And I can type to them by opening this and saying hello. You can also send files and pictures to dispatch. Look at this plus in the bottom right corner. Clicking this allows you to open up your camera to take a picture, use a picture that already exists from your gallery, record an audio statement, or send them a PDF. If dispatch sends you a message, you'll get a notification in the top right corner, and you'll always be able to access it by going to the messaging section. We see there was a 4 there before, and there is nothing there now because I've looked at the menu, the messages that they've sent to me. Going back to the menu, we can see that there's a Logs section. Clicking on it, we can see today's logs. Any status changes I've made, location, time of status, whatever. You can see that it also tells me if there's violations. I haven't authorized my log yet today. your inspector won't see this in inspection mode, but this is just to warn you that at the end of the day, you want to authorize your log the same way you would sign your paper logs at the end of the day to say that yes, you agree with the information that's in here in FleetRover today. Your current cycle also shows here, and how much time I have left on my cycle for the various statuses. How much driving time, how much shift time, how much cycle time. All the information you need to know at a glance. You can also add a DVIR report from this page. But I already did one before, and that's why it'll show it here. So you can access this or edit it if need be. We can also add annotations from this page. I'm going to click the bottom right corner. There's this plus button. So I can edit and reauthorize my logs. Maybe I forgot to make a change. So I actually was sleeping from start time, maybe 3 a.m. to 4:45 a.m. Just a little power nap. And we'll click here. So the happy face is off duty. You're happy, you're having a good old time. This is on duty, the road. The driver's steering wheel is driving, and the moon with snoring is sleeping. Keep in mind that you may be restricted from editing driving status or any statuses depending on how your team has set your ELD or AOBRD device up. But I've made the edit I needed to make, and we can see that that shows on my logs now. Again, I can change my location, or when I'm connected to my ELD in my truck, it will pull my location automatically. So I'm going to add an event. And now we can see that my logs have that change there. And if we want to go back to this information here by going to edit and reauthorize, we can see I can add an annotation from this page, or I can simply click the plus button and click add annotation. So maybe you stopped for fuel. If you cross the border, the app will automatically put this annotation on for you, but whatever, personal conveyance, anything you want to note, you can do here. Fuel station. And you can add additional information in the remarks section if you like. Okay, so let's add that annotation. And again, you can change your location if you like, whenever you do add an annotation. If you want to delete this annotation, hold your finger down on this area, and it'll ask if you want to edit or delete it. I'm going to leave it there, but just in case you need to do that, you can do so. If I want to look at previous days, I just swipe to the right. And you can see at the top here, it's showing me what date we're looking at. All my logs and information are available here. And I'm going to authorize my logs just to make sure that I get my information in properly, and don't forget to do this since my shift is now ending. Okay, and I get a confirmation at the top here. My logs have been authorized. And we can see that I don't have any violations, and the app's telling me at the bottom here that it's been authorized. If you need your dispatch team to make an edit, they can do so from the FleetRover web application. So maybe you forgot to change your status from on duty, from sleeping to on duty, or vice versa, whatever. This happens, so you may have the opportunity to edit the way we showed you here, edit and reauthorize. But if this has been restricted by your operations team, you'll ask them to make the edit, and then they'll make the edit, but you need to approve it. At the end of the day, you're the driver, and it's up to you to make sure that all the information is accurate. So going back to the menu, we'll see edited log. Whenever your team makes an edit that is requiring approval, it will show up here. And you can take a look at it and then choose to approve it or reject it. And just like when they sent a message, you'll get a notification that an edit has come through. The reports section here can be used to file a DVIR report. We can look at our DVIR reports and we can add new ones. But it's exactly the same as the information we saw when we did this from the home page. So there's no need to look at this again. Objectives will be covered in a different video. If your team is using FleetRover for dispatch purposes, then they can assign objectives to you and you can manage that through the application. Some of our clients are doing this and others are utilizing existing protocols and processes and systems to manage dispatch. So we won't go over that here. And at the end, we see there's a driver envelope. The envelope is another tool for sharing files between you and your dispatch team. This is your way of sending images, PDFs, waybills, receipts, pictures, videos, whatever you want. And that goes back to your dispatch or operations team. And dispatch can send it to you as well. Just be aware that you will use data if you're not on Wi-Fi, and images and videos can be large files. When a file is sent to you, it will get a notification in the app, and when you open the envelope, it will show as an arrow in a gray box. You can click it to download and view the file. The reason that we don't download it automatically is that you may be on the road, and if it's a large video or some other large file, we don't want to use all your data up. You can also delete these files by holding your finger down until a check mark shows up and a garbage can appears. I will delete this file now. Okay. And so if you want to send something back to your dispatch team, click this arrow and you can attach a file however you want. So whatever's on your device, pictures, videos, images, all available there, and you can just attach it and send it. Again, if it's a large file, you should wait till you're on Wi-Fi unless it's absolutely urgent. This covers the FleetRover application. Since I'm finished my shift, I'm going to go off duty and log out. Contact your dispatch team or your FleetRover account rep for any additional questions. Thanks.